September 11th, 2001, a day that would change the world forever. At 8:46 a.m., American Airlines Flight 11 struck the North Tower of the World Trade Center. At 9:03 a.m., United Airlines Flight 175 crashed into the South Tower. The world watched in horror. At 9:37 a.m., American Airlines Flight 77 crashed into the Pentagon, killing 125 people in the building and on the ground, and 59 passengers and crew on the plane. But there was one plane still in the air, carrying 44 souls whose courage would change the course of history. United Airlines Flight 93 was hijacked at 9:28 a.m, but unlike the others, it would not reach its intended target. Its passengers, armed with nothing but courage and a resolve to fight back, would ensure that the tragedy of that day did not unfold as planned. Flight 93, bound for San Francisco, was delayed on the tarmac and departed Newark Liberty International Airport at 8:42 a.m. On board were 40 passengers and crew, plus the 4 hijackers. The people on board were unaware that the world was already descending into chaos. Among the passengers were ordinary people, parents, students, and business people. They had no idea that within an hour their lives would be forever altered. At 9:28 a.m, Flight 93 was hijacked by 4 terrorists linked to Al-Qaeda. Ziad Jarrah, the leader, and his 3 accomplices stormed the cockpit, overpowering the crew. The hijackers took control of the plane. At first, the passengers had no idea what was happening, but within minutes, they would learn the truth. In the back of the plane, passengers began to hear commotion from the front. They could sense that something was terribly wrong. Some passengers began making frantic calls, learning of the devastation already taking place in New York and Washington, D.C. Todd Beamer, a 32-year-old father, spoke with a GTE airphone operator, revealing the unfolding nightmare.
"My plane's been hijacked, and I think they're going to take it to Washington."
The passengers, learning about the attacks on the World Trade Center and the Pentagon, knew their flight was part of a larger plan. They knew this wasn't a normal hijacking. They refused to go down without a fight. Led by Todd Beamer, Jeremy Glick, Mark Bingham, Tom Burnett, and others, the passengers made a life-or-death decision. They would try to retake the plane, knowing the hijackers' likely plan was to crash it into the US Capitol or the White House. Armed with nothing but their courage, the passengers charged toward the cockpit, using a food service cart as a battering ram. They knew they had one shot to stop the hijackers. The hijackers fought back, but the passengers were relentless. The cockpit voice recorder captured the sounds of the struggle. The cockpit door was breached, and the plane began to spiral out of control. As the passengers stormed the cockpit, the hijackers, rather than lose control of the plane, plunged it towards the ground. But the passengers fought valiantly until the very end. In the end, their efforts were not in vain. At 10:03 a.m, United Airlines Flight 93 crashed into a field in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, killing all 40 passengers and crew and the 4 hijackers. The actions of the passengers aboard Flight 93 likely saved the lives of countless others. Their bravery prevented the hijackers from reaching their intended target in Washington, D.C. They may have lost their lives, but they stopped a far greater catastrophe. Today, a memorial stands where Flight 93 crashed, a place to honour the lives of 40 courageous men and women who gave everything to stop a far worse tragedy. The legacy of Flight 93 lives on. Their courage reshaped aviation security, led to reinforced cockpit doors, and changed the way we think about acts of terror. Their bravery will never be forgotten. September 11th, 2001 was a day of unspeakable loss, But in the midst of the horror, the passengers of United Airlines Flight 93 showed the world what it means to be brave, to stand up against evil, and to make the ultimate sacrifice for others.